This is the session we have all been waiting for. This is session 3, black direct dye removal. We are going to start with mixing our Malibu CPR. And we are going to mix this with 4 ounces of warm water. Now, the first time I used this, I tried putting this in a bottle. And that was a big mistake because you see these chunks floating around in there? Yeah, that actually got stuck in the bottle. So now I mix beforehand very well. We're going to watch this kind of change consistency. I'm going to pour this in a bottle and I will bring you guys to the sink with the mannequin head. We're going to start with CPR on dry hair. I do not want this diluted. So you can kind of change your mind, change how you do things as you see fit. I really need this hair to soak up the CPR. Afterwards, I will use the undo goo and the disruptor from Malibu C. So we're going in with Malibu C's CPR right now on my custom black direct dye. And I'm actually just going to let her process at this bowl. Time is really of the essence. And as you can see, the color is already starting to come out, which is good. We have to make sure that we get it on the nape of the neck and work it through. We're going to time 30 minutes. Let's have a look at her. I did heat her up just a little bit. To help it along, we're going to give her a rinse and see where we're at before we use the color disruptor and the undo goo. What we're looking for is for a bit of a translucent look. So we're going to get in there with the undo goo first. Let's see what else comes out. And we're already getting some nice greens. underlying blue in there. This, of course, is really good. We really have to make this count because I'm only going to do this once. At this bowl. Might get in there a couple times. I'm going to get as much as I can out of this hair while I'm at this bowl. Now I'm going to go in with Color Disruptor. It's very thick and it's quite oily. It is quite hard to squeeze out. It is very thick stuff. It would be much easier if it were in a pump. I'm going in with Undo Goo over the top of it. We can see it releasing a lot of color again, which is what we want. This is fantastic. It's exactly what we're looking for. I'm seeing a lot of progress on the top of the head. So I'm going to focus a bit more on these ends here. It looks like they're holding on to a bit more color than the rest of the head, and we really don't want that. Focusing on those ends, and yeah, we've got more trying to come out. I like to keep my products potent, so I will rinse as many times as I need to and apply new. And undo goo. In fact, if you've got a color correction business, I actually have no idea if they do leaders, but with pumps for both the undo goo and the color disruptor, but that would be freaking amazing. Okay, it's getting a little, it's like slowing down at like a tiny bit. We're not going to stay here all day, we've got real work to do. Okay, yes, we're good to go. We are good to go. That is looking amazing. This is actually really amazing. The hair is so shiny. It's so shiny and it's so soft. I mean, what else are you going to use other than undo goo and color disruptor and CPR? Look at how much we stripped and look at how soft and shiny this hair is. You can't beat that. This is why Malibu C is my number one. I mean, when I used it, it met every need that I had, and I am a picky woman. I take my color correcting very seriously. This is just phenomenal. So I have her kind of slightly dry. She's a bit damp in some areas. We made some huge breakthroughs. Right now what I'm going to use is I'm going to go through and use my DDL, the Direct Dye Lifter Extra Lift. So there's two ways I can start this. I can start in the back, and when that's done, I can rinse that out while I'm working on the front. Or I could start in the front because I want the front to obviously get more lift. But if I need to rinse it out, and this were a real client, that would be a horrific thing. I don't know if you've ever seen a client on their knees, like trying to get their head down into the sink. It's not cool. So I generally always start in the back. And I think I'm probably going to do the same thing with her, so that if I need to rinse her, I absolutely can. Along the way, I'm going to mix new fresh batches so that it's always new, always fresh, always working hard. We don't need anything weak. I just made a double batch of DDL XL and 20 in this big bowl, so I don't have to worry about anything. I am going to use foil. Not a lot of foil, but just enough to kind of sandwich and get some heat in there. It is just a couple minutes past. It's a couple minutes past an hour of when I first started. So it's a couple minutes past an hour of when I first started, and we are going to apply very fast. hair when I was done with one more packet of DDL XL, which makes that a total of 7. I capped her, and we're going to let this process for about another 15 minutes and then take it off and see what we have. At this point, we're at about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Alright, it looks like she's done, which means that we will have to do a lightening process just to bump her up a bit more. She's marinating, I wanted to take a moment to discuss K-PAK HKP liquid protein. This is hair identical liquid keratin. It is the only reconstructor that I will use. I've been using it since it came out, which I think is about 2010, if I'm not mistaken. This is the OG. This has been around forever. So when people ask what we've been using all of this time before other products came along, it is absolutely K-PAK, for me anyway. So while she's marinating in this, I'm actually going to mix up a lightener, and I'm going to pour it over her and just let her kind of relax in a cap at the bowl. I don't want it to be on for very long. Hopefully it won't take much for it to break through this, but we'll see. You know, I'm thinking maybe 15-20 minutes. We'll see how light we can actually get her. The lightener that I use is always Schwarzkopf Blonde Me, the up to 9. I used this on our mannequin Diane tonight at the bowl. I did a very, very diluted global lightening mix that's very runny. So I did about like 1 scoop of the Blonde Me and at least about 3-4 ounces of 20 volume to get that consistency. Actually, probably more like anywhere between 3 to 5 ounces. I actually just do a free pour until it's the consistency that I want it to be for when I'm putting it on my client at the bowl. So this is a very gentle mix. You could go more gentle, but we had a bit more pigment to remove than anticipated. But either way, we're still clocking in at around 3 hours, which is pretty amazing to go from black to blonde in 3 hours. So let's finish this up. Color corrections are very exciting. They're always going to turn out different, whether it's mannequin head, human head, whatever the case may be. Lifting this color, it was spotty. Now, it doesn't matter how good you may be at lifting color out of the hair. If you do not know how to color and tone that hair, it will look awful. So you have to do a bit of color matching to the darkest parts so that it's even. I was battling very, very blonde hair and also battling the darker pink spots. And so I had to mix up a formula which looks pretty insane, but I do everything from gut instinct. So this has a little bit of a gold iridescent in it. It's got an addition of a little bit of a pastel pink. I put in pearl, and I put in titanium with some shots of violet with level 9 neutral base. We will see how this color turned out. It was the best that I could think of that would be flattering overall in terms of ashiness, that coolness, a very cool blonde. We'll see how this turns out when we wash it.